nous ne pouvons pas nous permettre de perdre l'élan diplomatique actuel, aussi fragile soit-il. Plus cette guerre durera, plus ses conséquences seront dévastatrices pour tout le monde. Je réitère mon appel pour un cessez-le-feu complet, général et durable. Un cessez-le-feu qui ouvre la voie à une paix juste, globale et pérenne. Une paix conforme à la Charte des Nations Unies, au droit international et aux résolutions pertinentes de l'ONU.
One of the prominent members of this council is doing everything to prolong the largest war in Europe since World War II. Russia does this with impunity, using its veto power, buying influence, and keeping peace on hold. The Russian representative is here, but of course not the one who makes the real decisions. That man fears to sit face to face with Ukraine and the world and openly admit he wants only war. Instead, Putin sends delegates who cannot and don't want to stop the bloodshed. And when he appears abroad in Beijing or somewhere else, it's only to buy more time for killing, pretending he seeks diplomacy. Putin only cares about using every meeting, every chance to keep the war going. Each day Russia kills our people, destroys our cities, and leaves no sign it will ever return to the principles of the UN Charter. China is also represented here, a powerful nation on which Russia now depends completely. If China truly wanted this war to stop, it could compel Moscow to end the invasion. Without China, Putin's Russia is nothing. Yet too often, China stays silent and distant instead of active for peace. The United States of America is present here as well, a strong nation that supports our defense, and we've said yes to every proposal from the US President for a ceasefire and talks with Russia to bring peace. But Russia always says no, or tries to confuse everyone so that even a ceasefire can't happen.
Despite the huge Russian mobilization attempts in the last 3 years, their overall impact on their military goals has been minimal. In this war that they started, their losses are now 20 times higher than were Soviet losses in Afghanistan. In this war that they are continuing to pursue, they're struggling to recruit. And in some areas, their stocks are so low they have resorted to using military equipment from the 1950s. What is this for? Because as Ukraine stands firm against Russia, the United Kingdom stands firm with Ukraine. We know that Ukraine's security is our security, and all of us depend on upholding the UN Charter. We know that Russia exports interference, disinformation and instability well beyond Ukraine, from cyber attacks in Moldova to the deployment of mercenaries in the Sahel.
We are very grateful to some of the countries in this room that were helpful in that regard with the DRC and Rwanda, and work remains to be done. But again, a conflict that presents grave dangers and extraordinary humanitarian challenges. With Azerbaijan and Armenia as well. He has become involved, and we were able to sign an agreement at the White House very recently that hopefully prevents a future conflict which would prove costly and deadly. But the one that's proved to be an extraordinary challenge has been the war in Ukraine, between Russia and Ukraine. The President has worked on it tirelessly, has invested a tremendous amount of his own time, energy, and the highest levels of our government. We have had meetings in Turkey, meetings in Saudi Arabia, meetings in Alaska, countless phone calls, doing everything possible to bring this conflict to a resolution and to an end. A war that cannot end militarily. It will end at a negotiating table. That's where this war will end. The President is a very patient man. He's very committed to peace, but his patience is not infinite. And as he has said repeatedly, he has before him the opportunity and the options of imposing additional economic costs on the Russian Federation if necessary in order to bring this to an end. He also has before him the option, as he has already chosen to do in some circumstances, to sell defensive weaponry and potentially offensive weaponry so that Ukraine can defend itself from this assault by purchasing that weaponry. So I'm here to say to the Security Council, the United States remains as committed as it has ever been to a peaceful resolution to this dangerous conflict.
The repercussions of this conflict extend far beyond its geographical expanse. Increased polarization and geopolitical tensions, disruption of supply chains, food and energy insecurity, global inflation, and much more. The Global South has borne a disproportionate brunt of these consequences. Mr. President, we have consistently maintained that there is no military solution here or in the foreseeable future. Every bullet fired, every rocket and drone launched, every life lost moves us further away from peace. We call upon the parties to demonstrate restraint, scrupulously adhere to the international humanitarian law, and make meaningful strides towards de-escalation.